Hamilton isn't dying, it's already flatlined, and you're still waiting for the beeping to come back. But cities don't scream when they collapse, they whisper. In expired listings, boarded up storefronts, encampments, and open houses with no shoes by the front door.
Well, a report to Hamilton City Council says the high cost of housing has left the city in danger of losing many talented younger people who work here. In fact, the report says house prices are so high that even the people who build the homes may not be able to buy them.
Denial, delay, decay, death. Hamilton is deep into stage 3, and everyone's still sipping coffee like it's spring 2021. You want proof? Let's go there. Over 1,000 failed listings in Hamilton last week. That's not a slowdown, that's rejection on a civic scale. But buyers are saying, nah, I'm good sheer granite countertops and your motivated seller signs. No offers, no showings, no buzz, just silence. And silence is what you hear right before the building collapses. This isn't about one neighborhood. It's a systematic rot citywide. No asset class is safe because buyers aren't just resisting, they're revolting against prices, against risk, against a city that feels more like a liability than a life upgrade.
I mean, I live near Gage Park and there's an encampment just about 200 feet from Gage Park. I've seen everything from shotguns being recovered to fires, prostitution, and certainly drug use on a daily basis.
Let's be crystal clear. This isn't a correction. This is a cultural recession. Downtown Hamilton, vacant storefronts like missing teeth in a broken smile. Steel jobs gone, tent cities rising, and 650K condos sitting empty while tenants get evicted from units they can't afford to heat. If you got your head in a pillow of old school news headlines, it's time to wake up. This isn't temporary, this is trajectory. Detroit in 2007 looked just like this. Home prices plateaued, jobs trickled out, people stayed in denial. Then 2008, collapse. If you're thinking about selling in Hamilton, you don't need an awkward smile on a billboard to escape this mess. You're glued to your screen, and so is your buyer. They're not stuck in traffic, they're online. I'll get a video of your home in front of 100,000 of their screens in 14 days or less, guaranteed. Click the link and grab my free guide. Now back to the chaos in Detroit. Property values dropped nearly 70%. Population cratered. Vacancy hit 28%. A once great city sold for parts. And every it'll bounce back guy got burned in their own wishful thinking. Hamilton is tracing that blueprint brick by brick. Steel down, city services bloated, tax base shrinking, listings skyrocketing, and every condo buyer who bought in early 2021 now sitting on a leveraged shoebox with 0 offers and $700 a month in maintenance fees. Let's talk real pain. Investor bought for $499, listed at $449, not a single call. $70,000 in the hole and paying for a miracle that isn't coming. That's not a win, that's an amputation. Still think this is just a bad market? No. This is what happens when confidence dies and denial takes over.
We haven't seen sales volumes running this low again since probably the 1990s. We're pretty much at a recession in the market.
The market is being described as a buyer's market. The problem is there are few buyers to be found.
Buyers see the rot, they smell the fear, and they're playing chess while sellers are still praying for monopoly money. You know how to spot the collapse before the headline? Momentum flips. Homes don't sell, then homes don't show, then people stop listing, then prices get slashed, and nobody even blinks. That's Hamilton right now. I've got listings that are staged to the bone. 4K videos, perfect lighting, 24/7 marketing, and they sit because the buyer evolved. He doesn't want your fantasy pricing, he wants blood. That's not about rates, that's about risk. And Hamilton right now feels like the game of hot potato with 6-figure mortgages. Want to talk detached? Sure. Homes on the mountain, 60, 90, 120 days. No action, then suddenly price drop to the real number. Boom, 4 offers, full price gone. Because the market isn't dead, it's just disciplined. It knows a joke when it sees one. And $799 for 1980s rental with green carpet and optimism is a punchline. But this is what sellers do in the death spiral. They delay, then they deny, then they drown. And right now, sellers are doing it in real time. You hear them say things like, we just need a better agent. We're not desperate, we'll wait for spring. You think time is going to save you? Honestly, time is your enemy because this isn't a pause, this is a pattern. Rome, Detroit, Hamilton. Different cities, same script. Let me break it down like a bar. Rome didn't fall in a fire, it bled out in silence. Detroit didn't explode, it eroded from inside. And Hamilton is being hollowed like a tree eaten from the trunk out. You think this is dramatic? Okay, let's get statistical. Detroit, peak population 1.85 million, today 620,000. Vacancy 28% in 2009. Median home price dropped from 98K to 33 in 4 years. That's what structural collapse looks like. Hamilton pre-con buyers right now down 30% in some cases. Multi-res listings, higher months of inventory than I've ever seen. Vacancy creeping up, rent delinquencies rising, steel employment getting crushed. Sound familiar yet? This is not a crash. It's a re-rating of your city, of your property, of your assumptions. Because when a city loses purpose, it loses value. And Hamilton's purpose used to be steel. It used to be growth. Now it's Airbnb, pipe dreams, and unaffordable condos no one wants to live in. Let's talk landlords. You think they're chilling? They're drowning in negative cash flow. $3,200 a month in monthly costs, $2,300 in rent if they're lucky. The rest comes out to denial and credit cards. And once renewals hit and rates are 5.5%, they're not owners, they're hostages. And the buyers know it because this isn't the housing market, it's a gladiator ring. And the weak listings don't get offers, they get executed. But here's the wild part, the government doesn't see it. The agents don't admit it and the sellers won't say it out loud. So let me. Hamilton is in a silent collapse, a slow motion failure, a soft implosion. And if you think you're immune to it because you live on a quiet street and your agent smiles on a billboard, good luck. Because when confidence dies, it doesn't discriminate. It floods every single postal code. It turns granite counters into tombstones.
With home sales at their lowest since 2020, the expectations of sellers in a clear buyer's market aren't always aligned with reality.
This isn't a market correction. Hamilton is leaking value like a sinking ship, patching holes with denial. Let's compare autopsies. Detroit, 2008. Over 1.2 million residents in the 50s. By 2013, under 700K. That's a ghost town wrapped in nostalgia. Vacancy rates hit 20%, entire neighborhoods abandoned, median home prices under 40K. You know what happened before the implosion? Everyone said it will bounce back. Does that sound familiar to you? Hamilton 2025, population still stable, but migration drying up. Vacancy rates rising, inventory stacking, and jobs, the steel backbone is brittle. And guess what took its place? Condo flipping and government subsidies. You can't buy a city on TikTok landlords and Service Ontario payrolls. This ain't fear-mongering, it's math. It's pattern recognition. It's history. You think this city's invincible because people still go to brunch? Detroit had brunch too, before it had 10 cities and bank-owned subdivisions. Let's break the delusion. Number one, the middle-class exodus. They're not announcing it. They're not posting moving boxes, but they're leaving quietly. Hamilton's professionals, packing for Burlington, Guelph, Niagara, some going out to Nova Scotia, not for the price, but for peace, because nobody wants to pay $850,000 for chaos and carrying costs. You lose the middle class, you lose the tax base, you lose the schools, you lose the next buyer for your overpriced 3-bedroom with a future LRT view. So did Cleveland. So did every other city that bet on sentiment rather than sustainability. Number two, death of velocity. You know what dies before a city? The vibe, the pulse, that hum of movement. Listings flying, jobs growing, patios buzzing. Now you can hear the silence. Listings sitting, deals stalling, sellers ghosted, and every buyer walking in like a bounty hunter with a spreadsheet and a poker face. They don't need your house. They don't need to move. They have options, and options kill urgency. This is what happens right before a place flatlines. Stillness followed by apathy, followed by price cuts like chainsaws. And you think a 1% rate cut is going to save the scene? Brother, that's a Tylenol and a gunshot wound. Number three, government addiction and economic hollowing. Detroit did not collapse overnight. It bled out while being propped up by municipal BS. Pension deficits, overpaid council members, delayed maintenance, everyone cashing checks while the lights dimmed. Now Hamilton, same movie, different years, City Hall's revolving door of consultants and TikTok-friendly announcements. But the pipes still leaking, the roads still cracked, and the tax base built on broke homeowners and landlords too scared to list. It's not an economy, it's a subsidy pyramid. And pyramids always fall the same way, from the top down. Number four, the shadow collapse. The buildings that lie. There are towers in this city that look sold out, lights on, lobbies clean, but inside, a huge chunk of those units are sitting empty. Investors bleeding on quiet, renters refusing 2023 price tags, assignments frozen like Canadian tundra, and everyone's pretending it's just seasonal. Nah, this is structural. It's a hidden collapse wrapped in polite optics, like smiling through bankruptcy. And when those renewals hit this year and next, you'll see 15 units hit the market from the same damn floor. That's not a sale, that's a death spiral.
What would you do if one day your neighbor, who you've known for years, you see him building a bomb shelter? Would you think, that guy's crazy? Or would you wonder, what does he know that I don't? It turns out banks right now are building a bomb shelter. Just this quarter, Canada's big six banks have set $4.3 billion aside to cover bad loans. That's almost double what they set aside in the first quarter of last year and more than 11 times what they set aside in the first quarter before that.
Banks are setting aside a larger amount of money than they ever have before.
Not just now, but in the previous quarter and in the quarter before that and the quarter before that.
Number five, builders are already out. You think the pros are waiting? No, they're already dumping their land. pausing launches, renegotiating trades, offering incentives they would have laughed at 2 years ago because they know what time it is. In Detroit, it started the same way. Big developers cut bait, small builders went bankrupt, then came the weeds, then came the plywood, then the headlines. Hamilton's difference, you still think this is recoverable. Number 6, buyer behavior is carnivorous. Buyers aren't scared, they're circling. They're watching listings age like spoiled meat and they're waiting for sellers to blink. They've seen enough stale open houses, $200K overpriced, and just testing out the market clowns to know this isn't a boom with a cough. It's a bubble with lung cancer. I've had buyers say this to my face. I'm waiting till the market drops 50K. Then I'll offer 40K under that. That's not a buyer, that's an assassin. And this market is a hunting ground. Number 7, the comps are compromised. Once comps collapse, recovery's over. You could have the best view, best lot, best finishes, doesn't matter. If your neighbor sold for 580K after paying 740, that's the new market. This isn't pricing psychology, it's blood math. And right now, the appraisers along with the buyers are sharpening their knives. You want to know how Detroit homes hit 25K in 2013? Because no one bought at 50K and the 40K guy got desperate. Then 30K, then 25K, and everyone else just followed the bodies. Number 8, the hope tax. Hope is expensive. It lets you sit, it tells you the spring will save you, it whispers that your new agent's new drone video is the turning point. And then you pay for that hope with every week on market, with every price drop, with every just checking in text from a buyer who already walked away. You know who survives in a dying city? Not the hopeful, the alert, the fast, the strategic. Detroit didn't just kill speculators, it wiped out the people who waited too long to read the writing on the deed. Let's make this personal. I've got clients who waited, did the math, thought just one more season. Now they're calling me whispering, can we still get out? Sometimes, yeah, most times they miss the exit. It's not about fear, it's about timing. Because every day you hold a listing in a declining market is a day the price reprices you. And Hamilton's not just repricing homes, it's repricing dreams, neighborhoods, the whole damn narrative. I bet you think this ends with a bounce back. It ends with headlines. It ends with municipal bailout. It ends with your neighbor's house selling for 200K less than yours and a resetting of your whole damn street. Because the pattern is already playing out. Not next year, not 5 years from now, right now. Do you live in the greater Golden Horseshoe and still honestly believe the market's going to come save you? It won't, but I might. 100K phones, your home, 14 days or less. Targeted, aggressive, guaranteed. Sell smarter, sell faster, sell for more. Click the link below to grab my free guide or book a call. Because in this market, attention closes deals. Not awkward smiles and stale cookies at an open house. And if you're still thinking maybe I'm exaggerating, run the comps, walk the core, check the listing that sat for 87 days and finally sold 110K under ask. That's not pessimism, that's the weather report. And this storm already hit the shore. Collapse doesn't wear a warning label, it walks in wearing last year's market report. Smiling, lying, and buying time. Until time runs out. Hamilton isn't dead, but it's bleeding. And unless the entire system reinvents itself overnight, this is just the beginning of the fall. So act smart, act fast, or don't. But just remember, cities don't die with fire, they die in silence. And right now, Hamilton's as quiet as a cough.